Hello and welcome back to history class. Today is Thursday, April 30th. Can you believe it? It's the last day of April. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Well, you have already taken your Section 2 history quiz. Hopefully you have, and turned that into me. Today we are going to officially read through Section 3 of the Greek unit. So that's pages 312 through 317. And as you read, you're going to be completing a note-taking guide on page 127 of your history packet. So go ahead and pause the video, get that note-taking guide, page 127, get out your textbook, page 312. I am going to show you how to start that, and then I'm going to let you go and finish that off. So page 312 to page 317. This section is called Democracy in Athens. Now on the note-taking guide, what you're going to find, let me pull it up here, is these sections up here on the top go right along with the red headings from the section. So we see before democracy, and we can find that red heading right here on the very first page, 312, before democracy. So everything that falls under that one is going to be from that first red heading. And these little ones, a lot of them are very close to the blue subsections. So if you look at the titles of the blue subsections, but not all of them are. So be careful with that. Don't just, go one by one. You're going to need to look at what it's talking about. But these are the main key ideas from section 3. And just jot down a few notes on each one. And then at the end, after you've read through the whole section, you're going to summarize what is this whole section talking about in this summary statement. And then you'll answer this question: how did citizens gain power in Athens? So we're going to see the very beginning of ancient Greek before they had a democracy, and then how that democracy evolved from this section. So let's go ahead and start reading page 312. I'll help you take notes on this first part here. So I'm going to have the history textbook read it to us.
Democracy in Athens. One night in 508 BC, the sounds of a power struggle echoed through the streets of Athens. Isagoras, the city's leading judge, was trying to crush a movement for democracy. He had invited the Spartans to help him defeat this dangerous new trend. He forced the popular leader, Cleisthenes, to flee the city. Isagoras also exiled 700 families who supported democratic reform. But now some Athenians were fighting back. They chased Isagoras and the Spartans up into the Acropolis. The Spartans were excellent soldiers, but they were overwhelmed by the Athenian people. After the Spartans surrendered, Cleisthenes returned, and Athens continued building its democracy. Before democracy, Isagoras and the Spartans feared the new political trends in Athens. They were trying to keep government in the hands of the aristocrats, a type of government the Greeks called an oligarchy. In an oligarchy, political power is held by a small group of people.
All right, so that started us off on this section, but when we get to this next page, you're going to see here the first blue heading says oligarchy, and that matches up directly with what we see on our note-taking guide. So on this little paragraph here, that's where we're going to take notes. So let's read that. Oligarchies were usually headed by a council of leaders who belonged to the aristocracy. One of these aristocratic leaders was a lawgiver named Draco. He created a legal code that specified harsh punishments for all offenses, from serious to minor crimes. Today, people still use the word draconian to describe laws that seem unnecessarily harsh or severe. So what are some things we could write on our note-taking guide? Well, we could say before democracy, Athenians were ruled by oligarchies. And we might want to make sure that we remember that an oligarchy is a small group of people, and in this case, a small group of aristocrats. One leader that we read about was Draco. And he was famous for giving out harsh punishments. So that's it. We're just jotting down a few notes from that section. Let's go ahead and read the next one. The rise of the phalanx. In many city-states, power began to shift into the hands of more people. This process may have been sparked by a change in the way Greek armies were organized. In earlier times, the outcome of battles depended on fights between individual aristocratic warriors. The aristocrats were the most important soldiers of the state. Around 700 BC, a new military formation called the phalanx was introduced. The phalanx was a formation of heavily armed foot soldiers who moved together as a unit. Before battle, these citizen soldiers lined up to form a row of overlapping shields. Each man's shield helped protect his neighbor. He held the shield with his left arm. In his right hand, he held a spear or sword. A well-trained phalanx could overcome almost any other force. As foot soldiers, fighters in a phalanx did not need to be rich enough to buy and maintain a horse. More men could afford the necessary weapons and armor. As city-states became to depend on the phalanx formation for defense, citizen soldiers may have gained more political power. Some historians believe this gave more men a voice in government. Aristocratic leaders risked losing the support of their army if they did not consider the interests of these men. Each city-state set up a different form of government, and with so many city-states, great political variety characterized the Greek world. So now we see this new idea of the way that their soldiers are marching in battle and how they're gaining power from the fact that citizens could now be soldiers. You didn't have to be a rich man with a horse to be a soldier. So the phalanx, let's see. So this was a new formation of foot soldiers. We see that they were headed by aristocrats. And we see that the city-states depended on them. And they gained political power. All right, so that's what you're going to do for this graphic organizer. You're just going to jot down a few notes after you read each section. I do recommend that you do it bit by bit like I just did. Don't read the whole section and then go back in and fill in the notes. Take notes as you read. It will help you to remember what you're reading, and it'll help you to do well on that next quiz that you have coming up on Monday. I am going to email out a Kahoot code on Friday. Again, Kahoots are just for practice, and you don't have to start it. You can take the Kahoot on Monday right before you do the quiz, but I'll send that home for you Friday in case you want to get started on practicing for that. All right, have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon. Bye.